You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 39, and today's topic is telepathy. Hey everyone, Adam Musalli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. And now, let's get started. Lots of people during our hypnotherapy and NLP training have asked me about telepathy and if it's real. And by the way, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming, or better known NLP, also if you would like to become a life coach or even a counselor, now you can study all that totally online. All you have to do is just visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com and you'll find all these courses online along with many other courses once you click on the online tab. And also all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. The MindTech Institute is an accredited institute, and for more information, you can find all that on the website, themindtechinstitute.com. Going back to telepathy, but first, have you ever wondered what it would be like to send a telepathic message to someone through your mind without using your phone? Also, when you're thinking of someone just out of the blue, and suddenly he or she calls you even out of the blue, even if you haven't spoken to that person in a very long time, and then you say, "Oh my God, I was just thinking of you before you called," or "I was thinking of you a couple of hours ago, and now you called me." I'm also sure that you remember many times you were talking to someone, and then someone said something just before you said it, or you said something to that someone before he or she said it. Now, this is not presque vu, and if you would like to know more about that, you can find more information in an episode. I think it's episode 8. So that is also a form of telepathy. Now, I'll try and, as usual, to keep this topic as scientific as I can. You see, recent advances in brain-computer interfaces are turning the science fantasy of transmitting thoughts directly from one brain to another into reality. There are studies published in the last probably few years have reported direct transmission of brain activity between two animals, between two humans, and even between a human and a rat. These brain-to-brain interfaces, or BBIs, allow for direct transmission of brain activity in real time by coupling the brain of two individuals, or even between a human and a machine. As maybe you've already heard, they are working on a fighter jet where the pilot operates the fighter jet through his or her own thoughts, or better say, through telepathy. Now, this project, they've been already working on it, and who knows, maybe it's already been in service. So, what is the science behind this? Let's start first with reading the brainwaves, and as you know, or in case if you don't know, that our thoughts are electrochemicals. And we also teach that more precisely in our online and in-class neuro-linguistic programming NLP at the mindtechinstitute.com. So brain-to-brain interface, or BBIs, is made possible because of the way brain cells communicate with each other. Cell-to-cell communication occurs via a process known as synaptic transmission, where chemical signals are passed between cells, resulting in electro spikes in the receiving cell. Now, the synaptic transmission forms the basis of all brain activity, including motor control, memory, perception, and emotion. Because cells are connected in a network, brain activity produces a synchronized pulse of electrical activity, which is called a brainwave. Also, brainwaves change according to the cognitive processes that the brain is currently working through and are characterized by the time frequency pattern of the up and down state as known as oscillation. For example, there are brainwaves that are characterized of the different phases of sleep, and patterns are characterized of various states of awareness and consciousness. And by the way, those brainwaves are detected using a technique known as electroencephalogram, or EEG, where a swimming cap-like device is worn over the scalp and electrical activity detected via electrodes. I'm sure you've seen that in a movie or something. So the pattern of activity is then recorded and interpreted using a computer software. This kind of brain-machine interface forms the basis of neural prosthesis technology, and it's used to restore brain function. Now, this may sound far-fetched, but neuroprostheses are actually commonplace. Just think of the cochlear implant, which is that little hearing device some people have on their ear to help them pick sounds or sound waves, and then it transfers it to the brain. Now, let's talk about technical telepathy. This electrical nature of the brain allows not only for sending of signals, but also for the receiving of electrical pulses. These can be delivered in a non-invasive way using a technique called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. A TMS device creates a magnetic field over the scalp, which then causes an electrical current in the brain. When a TMS coil is placed over the motor cortex, which is the area of the cerebral cortex involved in the planning, control, and execution of movements, and when the motor pathways can be activated, it can result in movement of limb, hand, or foot, or even fingers or toes. Scientists are now working on ways to sort through all the noise in the brainwaves to uncover specific signals that can then be used to create an artificial communication channel between animals. The first demonstration of this was in 2013 study where a pair of rats were connected through a BBI to perform behavioral tasks. The connection was reinforced by giving both rats a reward when the receiver rat performed the task correctly. Now, interestingly enough, this study was a demonstration that a human could control the tail movement of a rat via BBI. We now know that BBIs can work between humans too. By combining EEG and TMS, scientists have transmitted the thought of moving a hand from one person to a separate individual who actually moved their hand. And I will get to that later when we talk about hypnosis. The BBI works best when both participants are conscious cooperators in the experiment. In this case, the subjects were engaged in a computer game. The latest advance in human brain-to-brain interface, or BBIs, represents another leap forward. This is where transmission of conscious thought was achieved between human beings in August 2014. Using a combination of technologies, including EEG, the internet, and TMS, the team of researchers was able to transmit a thought all the way from India to France. Now, words were first coded into binary notations such as 1 equal hola or 0 equal ciao. Then the resulting EEG signal from the person thinking of the 1, which is hola, the 0 was transmitted to a robot-driven TMS device positioned over the visual cortex of the receiver's brain. In this case, the TMS pulses resulted in the perception of flashes of light of the receiver, who was then able to decode this transmission into an original word, which is hola or ciao. Now, these BBIs technologies are becoming a reality. They have a huge potential to impact the way we interact with other humans, and maybe even the way we communicate with animals through direct transmission of thought. Such technologies have obvious and ethical legal implications, however, so it is important to note that the success of BBIs depends upon the conscious coupling of the subjects. In this respect, there is a terrific potential for BBIs to one day be integrated into psychotherapies, including cognitive behavioral therapy, learning of motor skills, or even more fantastical situations similar to remote control of robots on distant planets. Well, soon it might well be possible to really send someone a telepathic message by only using your mind. Now, one thing worth mentioning before I end this episode is that during our new linguistic programming or NLP training, we also teach something called rapport. And if you have studied NLP or hypnosis with us, you would know how important rapport is, especially in communication. In hypnosis training, we teach if you build a strong rapport with someone through a technique we teach and we call advanced matching and mirroring. It's not the same matching and mirroring which is being taught in NLP. It's a more advanced way of matching and mirroring. So through that technique, which we teach called advanced matching and mirroring, you would be able to sync your mind into the other person's mind and sort of control the movement of that person. Now, there is no magic involved in that whatsoever. It's just when you sync your mind or brainwaves with the other person's brainwaves, which I explained before when I was explaining the technical part of telepathy or the scientific part of telepathy. This is called the conscious coupling of the subjects. And we can build that through that advanced rapport building, which is the advanced matching and mirroring. So you can think your mind or brainwaves with the other person's brainwave and then become one and synchronized. Now, this is an advanced level of hypnosis, but it is doable, and many of our hypnosis graduates got to some really impressive levels. And I'm sure you've seen some stage hypnosis or hypnosis shows where the hypnotist syncs himself with the subject or the other person and start controlling that person while that subject is not looking at the hypnotist or cannot see what the hypnotist is doing, but they start doing exactly what the hypnotist is doing, like moving his arm, his leg, or his head, but without knowing why. As I said, it's just knowing how to synchronize at the right time your mind or your brainwaves with the other person's mind or brainwaves through a technique we teach and we call advanced matching and mirroring. Very interesting stuff. And you still need some ethics, by the way. It's just you and your conscience. And once again, if you're interested to learn NLP, hypnotherapy, life coaching, or other courses online, just go to the mindtechinstitute.com, click on the online courses tab, and you can enroll and study online. And you'll also get certified upon finishing the course. And if you're interested in becoming a counselor, we also have a diploma in counseling. as well as other diplomas and advanced diplomas in leadership and management, in marketing and communication, in hospitality management, and many others. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are recognized worldwide. We provide fast-track online training, and you can also get any diploma or advanced diploma through us through a program called Recognition of Prior Learning, where you don't need to study or sit in a class, but based on your experience. Of course, there are some conditions apply. All the information can be found on our website, mti.edu.au. That's mti.edu.au, or themindtechinstitute.com. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestion for a topic, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.